I feel like it is a lot easier though when you have a significant other to do that. And I went through a really hard, I don't even know if you would call it a breakup when I was going through chemo, because we were never officially together, but I went through some hard shit with the guy, and it was the middle of treatment.
Me awful, home, auto, emotional, builders, lips, and life is rich.
Oliver's good.
Oliver Shots is rich.
The Jordan Durham Podcast. Grew up real fast.
I did. I sure did.
So let's get into it. I mean, how old were you when you discovered that you had breast cancer?
I was 24.
How'd you find out?
So I had a huge lump in my breast, and you couldn't feel it if I was just like sitting here like this. I was laying a certain way on my couch, and I was doing something, and it's the way I was laying on my side, and I could feel it.
Did it like it was an irritating feeling or?
I just felt it sticking out. No pain, nothing.
Okay.
So I was at my mom's house. Thank goodness, because I freaked out and I went to her, and her mom was battling breast cancer at the time. So naturally we freaked out, but I went to my gynecologist the next day, and he said, I don't think it's anything to worry about, but I'm sending you to a general surgeon just to be sure. And they did a sonogram, and he told me that I was probably too young to have breast cancer because he had never seen it. None of my doctors had seen a 24-year-old with it. He said he didn't think it was anything, but still wanted to keep an eye on it and to come back in 3 months. So that was July of 2019. So I went back October of 2019, and that's when they were like, yeah, we need to do something about this. So had a biopsy, and a week later found out it was cancer.
When you found out, how was it rough for you for a few months just to say what do I got to do, like how am I overcome this? Were you strong or were you not strong?
I was very strong, actually.
Okay, that's a good thing.
So I kind of just had a gut. So I went, like I said, 3 months with it without knowing, and I had like the best summer of my life that summer. And when I found out, I had this gut feeling, but also was like, there's no way, my doctors would know, everybody would know. And I didn't think they were too concerned about it. So, like I said, I just had this gut feeling though. So I kind of prepared for it, but also was like, I'm just being anxious for no reason. So I was there with my mom, and as soon as he told me, we broke down. We just started bawling. My mom, I was on like the table, where they treat you. My mom was in the chair in front of me. She fell to the ground. I will never forget it, fell to her knees. And we said, can we have a moment? And the doctor walked out, and it took me about 10 minutes I was comforting my mom. It took me about 10 minutes to get my shit together, and he walked in, and I said, all right, what do I need to do?
Now, were you in college at the time?
No, I had graduated.
You already graduated? What did you go to college for?
Broadcasting.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
look at this, your chance right here.
I know.
It's your
I love
chance.
it.
Were you say you wanted to be an anchor?
Yeah, and I was a news reporter on the radio.
Could you give me like a pitch?
No.
It would work great. You'd be awesome at it.
I'll show you videos.
You ever think about picking it back up?
Yes, but not. I did the news, and I did not like the news because it's not fun like this. It's boring, and it's depressing. So I love fun stuff like this, and then I like the background stuff, like videography.
You might love this. I'm Shannon from Pop Brothers. Mm-hmm. She's going to start being a guest host on the Jordan Durham podcast. If you want to do it, you're more welcome to do it too.
Absolutely.
Just gives her, so she's like, Jordan, I'd like to interview some people, do it on your show. I'm like, hey, I don't there's nothing wrong with that. If you would like to do it, you're more than welcome to though.
I have fun people around here that would be interesting.
Look, I think everybody I enjoy learning, 24. I mean, that's so young though. That is when it comes to breast cancer, and I remember one time you told me about 80 pounds dry ice. Now Amy just bought, we got a machine coming. Now, didn't have that then. You did 80 pounds. That's crazy as shit.
Yeah. When Amy said that the other night, I was like,
yeah, yeah.
a little bit of PTSD, but it's a great option for people to have.
It was a big deal.
It was.
I mean, losing your hair is not something. So my mom, so they didn't know if my mom's gonna have chemo, radiation. She had non-Hopkins. She had the mask and all, and she had nice wigs. And I remember I lost one of her wigs at the Beauty and Bow contest.
Jordan.
I know a lot, but I mean, I think I was 12 when I found out my mom had cancer. It was I just lost my grandfather too. So she told me on the same week I lost my grandfather. So it was a lot to handle. It was in that kind of realm. It was just a lot. I was like, what?
It's a lot.
Yeah, because she didn't know if she had chemo, she had radiation, and I think that's why I'm trying to fight this as much as I can. I watched my mom lose some confidence, and that's like a hard thing. It's like a kid, like I watch it, and I watch her taking extreme naps, and she can never go back to the 9 to 5 life.
Was she honest with you about everything that was going on? Because I know a lot of people try to hide it from their kids, and I know it's hard as a child.
I mean, yeah, mom, yeah, she was a strong one, but that's when she sat me down and told me about it. That shit was not cool growing up and watching her battle. And it's literally the insecurities and the confidence that I lost. I mean, you've met my mom. Mm-hmm. Absolutely extremely gorgeous. Just sucks to watch, before her cancer, whole different person. It's weird. But she's she's a badass now. I mean, she's doing a lot of cool things to work on it. She's now she's really big into therapy is important. But she insecurities. And that's when I always told you, is like, we have these events. Like, I love having these events, but it's all about survivors because it gives them a place. Like it's not for, like, you can come and support, but name 10 places that are a hangout for survivors. And that's kind of, my mom never had that, That's kind of why I got more passionate about it the past year. And I hate to say more passionate about it because I've always been passionate about it. My survivor leader role, with what I'm talking about, with the pink dress run. So when it's all cars champions.
Yes. When I was debating on even moving to the coast right after, like, I was still going through treatment and I thought I wanted to move here, but I wasn't sure. Came to the pink dress run and that was my answer right there. I
know. First time meeting you, Jamie's actually at WLOX now, and we all are hanging on the stage. And I thought that was cool because, like, I don't think, John and I and the board, I mean, if we're going to grow this thing, we have to have other people. We got to have leaders like you that come in, Abby, Ashton. We got to have people that come in and to see this thing through. I mean, there's going to be a point where I'm not going to be relevant. I can't catch what's going on. And I don't never want this thing to die. Like, because I know what it does for people. I know when people tell me, and I love it, when people tell me that they have so much fun at the pink dress run. And this is my...
And they don't expect to.
Second or third year second year. Last year was my second year of actually doing the run. Mm-hmm. It's cool. Mm-hmm. And I do it, and they're like, I didn't expect you to do this. I'm like, I'm trying to fill it out. Like,
oh, you're talking about actually running?
I can't actually run, but I walk it.
That will never be me. But so that was my answer on moving here. And my first year helping, when I hadn't lived here very long, I hadn't been a survivor for very long at all. Y'all asked me to be the survivor coordinator. And of course I said yes. I've always been passionate about it. But at that time, my main focus was the people going through active treatment, which is why we're here. It's very important. But I had no idea at the time how hard life was about to get. You see those survivors on stage at 20 years out and they're so happy and you just assume their life is great and happy and normal, and it's not. And I had no idea, what was about to happen. So now my focus is on just being a support group for everyone that has battled it, whether it's you're 6 months out or, like I said, 20 years, because it's tough and there are no support groups. And I really...
Why is that? So you're like, why is that though? Why Well, I mean, they have events.
Why is it harder afterwards?
Why isn't there like a place for survivors to really like have a good environment to be a part of, like on the regular basis, not just saying at one of our events. I'm calling our own event out. Like, I was always curious about that. Why wouldn't there, you see these centers, like why wouldn't there like a hang? Like, there's there's biker clubs that have cooler hangs.
I mean, that's a great question. I think it's, you feel so alone afterwards, and you see these other survivors who, like I said, look happy on the outside, and they're not. I'm not saying they're miserable every day, but there's constant like fear and anxiety with it, and it's just a new normal. And I think these people feel like they're the only ones battling it, so they're not going to go out of their way to, start a support group or something. But it didn't take me till this past summer to realize that I'm not alone, and it's very normal to feel the way that I do on a daily basis. And I found a support group through the retreat that I went on this past summer. I was invited by a girl in Georgia who started it. It's called Breast Rest, and it's for survivors, I think 35, 45 and younger, 45. And it was 3 days of a vacation where they spoiled us. The girl that does it is Whitney. She's a therapist, so we got to talk about our feelings, which I've never really.
Is she a survivor too?
She is. She's a two-time survivor and a therapist. So she really is passionate about it, and she knows how to host these events and how to handle us and what to talk about and what to say, when to say it. And so these events are all about us. We're spoiled, and you're with other women who know exactly what you're going through. And I just felt so normal those 3 days. And I really have never, I haven't felt like that since finishing treatment. And I got back and I was upset because I was back to reality. And then I was back to people who didn't want to talk about cancer all the time and didn't know what I was feeling. And, the girls, we still talk 24/7, and anything we're feeling, someone else in that group has experienced it. It was only about 10 to 12 of us, but that really made me want to start a support group here. And I did get,
well, first off, you have to have a support group.
Yes.
And that's just in life with friendship. Like, I was telling you, like I have John Carter, I have Trey Cherry, I have DJ Bories, Micah Shepard. I'm not comparing it versus like being a survivor, but I have so do you. You have a support group, but it's important that you have somebody to talk to, because you can't live in your head all the fucking time.
And that's the thing is I've had a great support group my whole journey.
But they can understand what you're going through.
Friend and family wise, I've had a great support group. Yeah, but they do not understand what I'm going through. And they'll listen to me talk about it all day long, but you feel like a burden sometimes. Yeah. And on this retreat, it just felt so normal and freeing.
What'd y'all do?
First night we got there, they cooked for us the whole time, bought groceries, like literally everything, paid for plane tickets. It's amazing. First night we just all got to know each other, cooked dinner, and I think we went on a boat ride the first night. We watched the sunset, we did something, and then we had a little therapy session where we kind of, slowly jumped into it. And then the next day someone came and did massages. Yes. And then massages, facials, and then we hung out at on the lake and went home, got dressed, and then that was the night we went out on the boat, went on a sunset drive, and we had like 2 therapy sessions a day, I guess. And then
did you feel the therapy helped you though, having them sessions?
Absolutely.
Was a session around like 45 minutes? What was the type of like?
It honestly just depends, because you have no idea. There's certain questions that Whitney asks that you answer, but you don't know where those conversations are going to lead.
Is it a group therapy session? So it's like talking stick.
It was, yes. Okay. Well, she does workbooks, and so.
Oh, I like this person.
She, the BB crowns.
Yeah.
That's her.
Okay.
She's the best. Whitney O'Connor. We got to get her down here and on this. But she has workbooks, and like I said, she knows what to ask, when to ask it, what to say, and we'll write our thoughts down and answer all these questions, and then we'll talk about it, and she'll draw things on the board, and that will just lead to other conversations. So yeah, it was a group setting, and then there were times where we would split up. like in two, and she would tell us who to partner with. Like me and this one other girl, we were the only single ones there, and she is divorced. So we have different stories, but we're both single in survivorship. So that was who I was with.
And what's her age?
She's in her 30s, I believe.
Closer to my age? Mm-hmm. Okay. Sorry, Whitney, you had to go through this. I literally fucking hate cancer. Like,
yeah.
I hate what it does. I know it's like, I just sad. It fucking eats at me. And I'm telling you, it's like seeing mom do that shit. Like, it's like, it's not fun. It's not, because you're tired some days and you gotta have, like, yeah, it's fucking crazy.
It is.
And like, I'm glad that you went on that retreat, and that's cool that you're talking about it, because guys, if you're battling it, like, you know, just real quick, Ava Gazzo, went to school with her. Mm-hmm. She owns King Jack's, and she's been battling. And the other day, they found a spot on her liver. And we grew up together. And you've probably met Ava out, but they just found a fucking spot on her. She's a fucking mom. She has a family. Mm-hmm. She's fucking shit. Yeah, and it's like, you know, you have to like you still have to work a job. You still have to.
I worked through chemo.
Fuck. That shit kills me.
It was tough, but I did not want to sit at home all day. I did not. You're
just stronger than most people. I mean, honestly, something about that is, you know. So real quick though, I'm always curious, like, your chemo treatments, what'd that feel like?
Physically or emotionally?
Both. Like, what did it feel like? Like, did it burn? I mean, what type of process is this?
People think, like, when you're there in the hospital getting treatment, that part is like painful, and it's like an IV. You can't feel it. And
how long does it usually take?
It depends on the treatment. My first one I did, it's called the Red Devil. My chemo nurse called it the blood of Jesus, which I loved, because she was like, we're gonna get this stigma out of here, but it was terrible. I call it the Red Devil. That one took about 8 hours. And I did that 4 times every 2 weeks. And then the next cycle.
So you spent 16 hours per week.
2 weeks.
Being hooked up to an IV.
I went every other week.
Being hooked up to an IV though.
Yes.
Like a drip, kind of like a IV when I'm hungover, take the IV kind of.
Yeah, I wish it.
But does it help like that? Does it have a feeling to it? Does it burn, or is it?
It doesn't. They flush your port with like saline, and they do something with that in the IV part, and everyone says you can taste that, and I still can taste it for whatever reason. I think it's because we could smell it, and I can taste that, but it's not painful at all usually. And they tell you, you know, to bring a book, bring an iPad, watch movies, do whatever. So it's pretty relaxing, and most people sleep. So that part is not terrible, especially if you can have somebody with you entertaining you. For me, it was terrible because people probably don't know what you're talking about when you said 80 pounds of dry ice. I did the cooling caps to try to save my hair, and I hated them. So chemo was miserable for me, but that made it so much worse because I was, it was just painful, and I was having to switch them out every 20 minutes. So if I was asleep, my mom would have to wake me up in 20 minutes to switch out the cap, and it was just miserable. But no, chemo is not, it doesn't really hurt going in.
But how about, but being exhausted though? Yeah.
So the first treatment, I'll never forget it. I see the little,
sorry, people are going to be texting me.
It's okay.
I have do not disturb, but I also have a couple friends for safety, and they're going to blow up.
When my friends are on do not disturb, I immediately call them again. So my call goes through.
Yeah, this is it.
So the first treatment, I'll never forget seeing the Red Devil. It was like this much, and I said, "There's no way that much chemo is going to knock me down this bad." So the first one, I was ready to go. I was energetic, and for 24 hours, I was fine. And I was like, "What? What are these people talking about?" Then it hit me, and it was bad. So each chemo treatment, you're more exhausted and more exhausted, like the longer you go. And I did it for a year. So, yeah. So the Red Devil was like the worst treatment, I guess, but I felt...
What were some of the bad side effects that you were dealing with?
That's what I was about to say. Like, I felt better in it just because I didn't have so much in my body. But as the year went on, even the last treatment I did, it wasn't as aggressive, but I was just so tired at that point.
Did you want to take that bell and throw it through a window?
Yes.
You're like,
it was a little drum set. Mine was like, it was a children's drum set, and I was looking at it every time.
You're just like, I'm gonna throw this through the window. Like,
yes.
do you feel with, like you said, you still taste it? Do you have like dreams? Do you still think about back then, like the process?
I'll get to that. I'm going to finish what I was saying about
Okay.
the side effects, but I didn't have dreams or anything about it till my mom was diagnosed, and then it was bad. It got really bad.
Shit.
But through the Red Devil, it was the weirdest thing. That one, I was always sick. Friday, I had treatments on Friday. I was sick Friday through Monday. Never failed. Every time.
Like, can you compare sickness?
Tired, nauseous, just weak. Like my face was always flushed and red, and
Like a bad hangover.
yes, worse though.
Shit.
A lot worse. And that one, it was just bizarre though, because that one, like those few days, I did not feel good the whole time. Like it was easier to plan my life around events and stuff that my friends were having, because I was like, that's a chemo week. I'm going to be sick those few days. I can't do it. Well, then I started the next round, and that was a different drug. And with that one, then it switched to every 3 weeks. So Red Devil was every 2 weeks. Then it switched to every 3 weeks. And that one,
Did it ever happen did you ever go to pill form?
mm-mm.
Always drip?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that one, I was sick on random days. It was never the same. And I told you I worked the whole time. So Red Devil, my goal through all of chemo was to make it to work the Monday after a chemo treatment, which were on Fridays. I never did. That was my goal. And, it was discouraging, but I couldn't help it. But that was my goal, and I never did. But on the second one, it would hit me at random times. And it was the weirdest thing. I would have it, and that was every 3 weeks. And I would go a week without thinking, I wasn't going to have any side effects. And then it would hit me. So, trigger warning, if anyone gets grossed out easily, I would literally throw up like driving, because there was no way to prevent it. So I would have like throw up bags in my car, and I couldn't just not live my life. So I would still plan events with friends and stuff. But like, say we were at someone's house about to like go out or do something, if I didn't feel good, I wouldn't do it, because I never knew when it was going to hit me. And I just kind
We're talking about like a little bit of throw up, or like
not all the time, but
Okay.
like I threw up driving twice on the way to work, because I had no idea. It was pretty talented, honestly. But I just never knew what I was going to feel like, or when I was going to feel sick with that second round. And a lot of people have said that, everyone has a different story, but they're also so similar, because a lot of us have said, I've just met a lot of people who've said the same thing, is like each treatment was so different for them.
Did you, on the weekends, did you ever have like where you got to sleep 8 hours, or never?
Like at night?
Yeah.
Yeah, I slept a lot.
But you actually slept though? You didn't like wake up throwing up?
I did sometimes, but no, I was exhausted. I was sleeping a lot during the day, which is not something that my mom's going to laugh if I say that, because I say that's not something I'm used to. But like after graduation and starting big girl jobs, I couldn't do that. So it was not something I was used to anymore, but I had to just, fight through it and know I was going to feel better soon, and then get back at it. And this COVID happened in the middle of this. So I was still going through treatment, and I got a letter from my doctor that said I couldn't go to work for 2 weeks, because that was the beginning of COVID. We had no idea what it was going to entail. And then 2 weeks turned into a month, and then whatever. So I didn't work for like 2 to 3 months, I think. And that time I had to move in with my mom, before I started treatment and everything. So I was living with her. She moved out because she still had to work. She had to go to work and be a dance teacher and be around babies. We didn't want her to bring it home to me. So I was alone in my apartment that whole time, and could not be around anyone. No one can come see me. So I just started walking every day, like 4 or 5 miles a day. I lived on the water, which is my happy place. And I just walked. I would sleep all day. I would not feel good. But as soon as I felt better in the evenings, that made me feel so much better.
Do you still have the place?
No, it was a condo in Ridgeland that my mom had, and she loved it. But we're here now, so I'm not that sad about it. But it was just weird because I had been, I didn't think I was ever going to be active or anything again. But I had nothing else to do, and it kind of forced me to get out of the house and force myself to be active again.
Little Wayne walking.
No, literally.
That's jamming out to Lil Wayne the whole time.
That's it.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne radio.
What kind of things would you say with your experience that if a person is going through it, what things that help you get through it? Like the music you listen to, the movies you watched, the snacks you ate. Do you have any comfort foods or comfort things that kind of got you through it?
Yeah. So the only things I wanted during chemo were carbs, which sounds so bad.
Pizza.
See, I'm not a pizza person. God. I like barbecue chicken pizza. I'm not a red sauce girl, but
What?
Looks tempting.
You're more welcome.
All I wanted was carbs, and I told my doctor that. I said, this is so bad, and she said, some people, they crave one thing, and it could be the worst thing in the world for you, but whatever you're craving, you need to eat because you've got to eat something. So all I was eating was like Pop-Tarts. I was eating a lot of noodles from like Chinese restaurants.
What Pop-Tarts?
Strawberry. Okay. Or blueberry.
Good one.
I like fruity stuff. French fries, baked potatoes, soups. That's all I wanted. But I was still losing weight. It was great because I was sick all the time. So like I can eat this all day. And
I know, I'm making some little drinks. Did you ever have times during that you were like, I give up?
No, I definitely had moments where, everyone battling that has a pity party. I feel like it's normal not to, but they never lasted long. I might have, and I'm still this way. I'll have a breakdown for like an hour and then be like, this is not me. Snap out of it. So I would just have to force myself to. But.
Do you want a little Coke?
Sure. Thank you.
I'll hook you up. Don't worry about it.
So, I think everyone considers giving up, but it was so much easier being in active treatment than it is now being on the other side of it. I had something to look forward to. So that helped me not want to give up.
Yeah. I mean, I think the situation where you're like, don't take this the wrong way, and it's a crazy way I'm going to say this, but it's just how I feel. I felt like my mom was a rablat.
Yeah.
Like it felt like just very.
I get it.
It was like day to day.
It was.
It's like a day to day thing. So it's like, I'm so proud that she didn't give up, but maybe I'd give up. Like that mask, the radiation mask was fucking creepy. Looks like a Hellraiser.
I saw that. So I didn't have radiation on my face, but that's the first thing I saw when I went into that room. Yeah. And I was like, I can't do that. Absolutely not.
It just sucks, man. I just worry sometimes about, do we have a cure coming? Or is it a political push? That's kind of where I'm at. It's like, you look at like your mom, that fucking kills me. Like her mom joined our board too, to support her daughter, and she got cancer. She's actually good now, right?
She is. She actually has her first.
I love her new hair. I love her hair.
I know.
I love her
She
hair.
doesn't.
I love
Everyone
her new hair.
does. Everyone does. So.
But it's her decision.
She's gonna be happy to hear that. She's just not used to it. I know she does not want gray hair.
Yeah, but
we're all secretly hoping it doesn't stay that way.
Yeah, but mom just went the same way though. Like she stopped dyeing her hair, and I'm like, good girl. Mm-hmm. So like, I'm gonna start wearing hats. Like good. Mm-hmm. And it sucks as though like for you to have it, and then like I've been actually a part of like when your mom had cancer. Like I remember calling you. I was like nervous about you. I was like freaking out because you had that scare. I was panicked.
I will never forget that either.
I was freaking
you
out.
Calling me. Yeah. Because people didn't realize how scary that was.
Yeah, creating Carter's Champions with John, it's not to be cool. It's to fucking fight. It's like taking a person like you, like I said, like you're the leader of this fucking thing. Like you're going to be taking this shit over. And you're bringing awareness. You're talking about this. This is a tough subject. And like I was telling him, I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to have some drinks tonight because I'm probably going to cry. Like,
I'm waiting on myself too.
it's like, because there's a lot. You see it. Like, you know, when I first started this shit, I was selfish. And then when I met the survivors, I became selfless. See what they battle and how they feel and how they hurt and how they don't feel beautiful. And fucking, it's like there's so many more steps. Like, it takes more steps for my mom to get out of the house to have a conversation. And sometimes she comes off awkward, you know, like me, like comes off awkward. She doesn't mean to be that way, but she doesn't know how to like actually react to like she's not a normal person. Mm-hmm. And I see that, and that's like terrifying. And I see that, and I'm so proud that you're like taking the lead and, you know, being a fighter. And I'm glad that Whitney has these kind of places for survivors. But it's fucking terrifying. Like, and it's getting so young now. I mean, 24? There's got to be more. We got to move faster on a cure.
Trust me. I completely agree. I hate cancer, all cancer.
Your 20s have been really changed. Like, I love you, but
trust me.
like every time your friends went to a bar or party or hung out with new guys, like you had to be at home being treated.
Hey, now people were very impressed at the way I continued partying during treatment. But you are correct. It was very hard.
It's just so at 24, you're still a baby. Like, yeah, you're an adult, but you're still like, you're learning about life. You're learning about bills. You're learning about paying, like you're learning about, you know, at 24, I think 24 is when I bought my first house. 25, I bought my first house. And the reason I bought it was because it was $715. It was cheaper than renting. And I didn't have anything. But that was an experience. I had to pay, like I actually had a mortgage. It's terrifying. But I mean, that's like chapters that, like, why I'm doing these chapters at 24, you're, you know, in and out of a hospital.
It was the weirdest thing because I was 2 years out of college, had been working, and I felt like an adult before I was diagnosed. You know, I was like, life is, you know, time's ticking. All my friends, a lot of them were married. Some of them were already having babies by then. So I felt so old at the time. And then when I was diagnosed, I was like, I'm way too young for this. And it was just kind of like a snap back to reality. So it made me a lot more mature, but I feel like it pushed me back a lot in a good way and a bad way. I've learned a lot from it.
What kind of like thing did you figure out for your confidence? How did you start regaining your confidence?
After cancer?
Yeah. Like what were the few things that started getting you back to finding your confidence again?
You know, still haven't really found it.
Is there certain things like, so for me, I have a tattooed on my chest, "You're beautiful." I think a lot has to do with, you know, I have cerebral palsy, Shriner's kid. But I always tell myself, "You're beautiful" in the mornings. Maybe you should start using that.
I'll do that tomorrow.
I swear, dude, it's the craziest fucking shit. Doesn't make any sense. But it's like, I build myself up before I start the day.
Okay.
That's what I do. I look in the mirror and I'm like, sucking on. Like I have to. It's like I have to build myself up. And plus I have Emily, so it's like a cheat code.
I feel like it is a lot easier though when you have a significant other to do that. And I went through a really hard, I don't even know if you would call it a breakup when I was going through chemo because we were never officially together, but I went through some hard shit with the guy and it was the middle of treatment. And I feel like that really made me struggle really bad because I blamed it on, you know, cancer. I'm like, so I'll tell you, I reconnected with a guy I was with in college and, like 2 weeks before I was diagnosed, reconnected again. So the day I was diagnosed, I called him and I was like, this is what happened. And I said, I honestly, you know, obviously can't put my all into this. And I said, if you need to leave, you can. I completely understand. This is a lot to throw on somebody. And he said, no. He said, I'm going to stay here. And I was like, this is great, you know, so supportive. And he did for a while. And the middle of treatment, COVID happened, just didn't hear from him. Found out he had a girlfriend. And
fuck.
Yeah, and I know that sounds silly and like minor, but when you're battling that, you know, like I feel like the first half, like when I was with this guy, I was confident and I was so happy to just have that like person that made me happy and like, you know, support system. And then when that happened, like I said, I blamed everything on cancer. I'm like, is this because, you know, I don't have half my hair? I don't have boobs anymore. You know, I just blamed it on everything because I'm a little more mentally, you know, not well now. So it's just hard. And, you know, it could have been not any of that, but still to this day, I relate everything to cancer and wonder if like, you know, that's what's wrong with me. So it is, confidence, it is a struggle, but I just don't really let it get me down, honestly. You know how I am.
Yeah.
I know all this sounds like I'm just like sad and, you know, have a pity party all the time, but you know, I'm like 70-80% of the time, I'm a very happy, fun person.
Well, the thing is, everybody battles with some type of depression, some type of struggle. Never met a perfect person. I said that the other day. I just read on things like I've never met a perfect person.
I saw that yesterday.
Yeah, I've never met one. Like
I just never had any like anxiety, depression. I never had any of that before cancer, and never understood it. And now it's just
on a positive thing. You and your mom both beat cancer. Your mom's your best friend, and God, I love your mom. And I'm gonna have her on too because I want to have her on separate. I like the solo one-on-one.
She's having her second reconstruction surgery tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And shout out to Paul. Like, honestly, if you drink Miller Lite and all FEB products, shout out to Paul Patuzzi. This is his family. This is, and he's been a rock star with this.
He really has.
Like,
he's a blessing.
Yeah. He's such a big supporter. Like, he is, it was crazy. Like, when your mom got it and you're like, shit. like, the reason I say that is because she never missed one of our meetings, one of our days without you. Like she's always been my daughter, my daughter, my daughter, my daughter. And then it hits her. That's fucking crazy. And
this is where I might cry. I'm good.
Have some coffee.
Could be alcohol. Cheers.
Could be coffee too. On the other side. Just pick a choose.
So her mom was diagnosed when I was in college. So like 2014-ish, and it started with breast cancer and then it progressed into other things, and she eventually just had it like through her whole body before we lost her. But she had been battling it for about I don't know how long she had been battling when I was diagnosed, but it was years. So my mom had been dealing with that, and then I was diagnosed and I had to move in with her. So she's taking care of me, and her mom was married, and my grandfather was her caretaker, but you know, it was hard for him and he was elderly. And my mom and her sisters were also kind of taking care of my grandmother. So I know my mom was struggling with that. She did not show it, but you know how hard that is to watch your daughter and your mom go through it at the same time. So, and she probably had the fear, you know, that whole time that she was next. And she was just, before she was even diagnosed, she was the strongest person I had ever met because of that.
It's fucking cool though. It's like, that's fucking weird though. Like, think about it. Like that, most of her life's been your grandma and her, like you and your grandma, and then now her, and she's kicking ass. She might not like her hair, but I love her hair, so she can kiss my ass on that one. I love her. She's an adorable person. She's a strong person. It's so cool to have her part of Cars Champions. Hell, I can't believe how big we've become. Like, I really haven't, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's all about awareness. You know, that was something that. Look, we started doing this shit in 2016. It's a whole different level now. We raised $133,000 for a local hospital, and I'm mad about it because I feel like we could have done more. Like, you're dealing with that mindset. Like, you're like, how can I fix it? How can we raise $1 million a year? I'm about to sell us out like NASCAR. Like, I've already done with the dresses.
I've already been like thinking about, you know, starting to advertise for the run and stuff now.
So I talked to John. I was talking to John about that, and I want us to open ticket sales up faster. I want us to do for all of our events and get, start getting more. I think we tipped out like 800 plus people last year for the run. Mm-hmm. But we also have Boating for Boobies. We also have the fishing. You need to go to the fish buoy tournament.
I wanted to go to that last year.
Oh, so dope. Shout out to Cam and Kane. But
it was during the day though, and I think I had work because it wasn't like on a Friday.
Boot scooting boobies, and I got
was my.
I got to show you the new shirt.
My element right there.
I love you, Terry. Terry's coming on the 11th, so Terry is coming on the podcast to talk more about it. But I got to show you what Terry sent me. I'm glad he's not sick anymore. I love Terry.
Terry was not sick. He was at the bar that night, and I told him he was full of shit.
Look at this. What shit? No, he sent it on Messenger. So what happened? Messenger is a very confusing thing for me. I really can't figure out Messenger. Wow. I don't know. It's just I'm not good at it. I'm really good at the design, but I'm not good at connecting things. Look at this.
I love that.
Sick.
Who did that?
He has a graphic designer.
Wait, so we're not boot scooting anymore?
It's changed every year.
Okay.
Every year? No, it's just.
I just told you country's my thing.
Well, I mean, I think having different events, though.
No, I know. I was just messing with you for sure. And while we're talking about that, I've met so many people who, whether they've had a family member or a friend go through cancer, a lot of it is, it's hard for them to talk about. So they avoid our events because they think we just get around and, have depressing conversations and talk about a cure for cancer all day. And once they come to these events, they're like, oh, this is cool. And, these people really care, but they're also having fun the whole time. And that's what I tell people. So people don't realize it until they come to our events or like meet y'all and realize that we're just normal people who like to have fun, but we're passionate.
We're coming out with our own marijuana.
Jordan said it.
No, it's true.
We sure are.
It's already got planned. It's going to take some time, year in development, and we're coming out with a strand for survivors. And a company called Con Life out of Pascagoula is going to be donating to our cause. And I think that's important for that is because, even if you figured out you're just getting cancer or you got some certain pain or you're after, it's just we're working on a strand where it helps and you're direct to go get it. And that's important. That's another move because that is a big part of it's instead of taking these serious painkillers and all. You're so tired of that shit, girl. You've been dosed up so much. It's good to have natural remedies. It
is, and that goes with the, saying you don't know what these people are battling after cancer. So right now, I feel like people are just focused on. This is just for people throughout chemo, which that is great. That's very necessary, but also it doesn't stop.
No, and so it's going to start.
And that's very important.
It's going to start with how we got this going, and then we'll move on to having other lines too. But it was a mixture of how we want to have it. So it's still going to be after for pain. It's going to be after pain, chill. Make sure there's not a paranoia feeling whatsoever. I think it's like, dude, we pull this off. It's over with. And I was like, told him, I was like, that's it. This is it because, let's help fight. We can fight by having an event, but we really fight. We raise so much money, we can start taking care of people, really taking care of people.
I agree.
They need it. It's crazy as shit. A mom has a couple kids, gets diagnosed with cancer, but still got to work a full-time job, but can't pay rent. It's fucking real. Mm-hmm. But you got to be strong for your kid.
That's why I was asking if your mom told y'all, because I know a lot of people who don't. And that's why the cooling caps are necessary for moms who want to hide it from their kids. Because losing hair is, I feel like, one of the hardest parts. And that really confuses kids. It really does. Oh,
but I'll tell you right now, she told me, it's a good thing she told me, but I had a lot of suicidal thoughts and I had a lot of anger towards the situation. I dealt with it differently. I'm still to this day, I love my mom to death, but I'm a little asshole to her and she's back to me. I couldn't handle it. I was like, shit. I remember going walking in her bedroom and she's just laid, she's pretty much honestly lifeless in a bed, just laid up watching Frasier or or Seinfeld or I Dream of Jeannie on Black, like, so like she just couldn't even, now of course I love my mom so much, but you know this, like there's nothing like taking a nap in your mom's bed. That's just something about like comfort of like a parent, you know, go over by mom's house and go lay in her bed, take a little nap. And it always felt that way, but it sucked. I
can't imagine going through it as a child.
She has a letter that I wrote, me and my brother wrote over her bed right now about it. Yeah, it was pretty dark for me. I think there was one time where like, I was getting real dark and I should never think that way at 12 years old to have them kind of thoughts, but it was crazy. It was just weird. It was just weird to like watch somebody so damn strong become so weak.
I think that's why people try to protect their children from it, but it made you who you are and it made you this passionate about it. I mean, it's life, honestly. It sucks.
Even there, I kept to myself. When we started Cars Champions, I still kept it to myself. Like, that's pretty fucking good. It's pretty, nobody really knew. Mm-hmm. Nobody knew. And then you met me like, oh yeah, my mom. Oh no, my mom was a cancer. Like, I grew up into it. Like, yeah, it was a love letter. It was just, I didn't really need to tell anybody. For me, it was just like, let's just get sponsor money and my mom would know. I remember my mom when she told me she's proud of me. She's like, it was one of the nights we were drinking, and it was cool. It was overwhelming because like she was like, "I'm proud of you." No, it was a fight, and honestly, if it wasn't for John was the one who reached out, and I would have never done it if John didn't call me and say, "Let's pretty much, let's raise let's make a difference once a year." And I was like, "All right," but I didn't know how it impacted me. I'm telling you, like at the first year, I was selfless. I was, "Oh, this is cool having an event." And second year, I met survivors. I'm like, fuck.
And I think that's what I was saying about the events. People don't realize how powerful and cool it is until they get involved. And it sucks that it takes knowing, having a family member or a friend, someone close to you battling it for you to really get passionate about it. That's what it takes sometimes though. But at this point, I think everyone knows someone who has battled it, unfortunately. So
it's getting crazy.
It's sad. It's really sad. So each year of the pink dress run, I thought I was just going to have the same group of ladies up there every time that were strangers each time.
What'd you have last year?
How many?
Yeah.
It was 20 something.
I'm proud they actually, and I love how we do the national anthem kick off and to let them talk first.
I liked that.
Yeah, it's about them.
I liked that. That was the start of it. But each year I've had somebody very close to me who was newly diagnosed, like before the run or that year before. And that sucks. And I just know that that's going to keep happening. Each year I'm going to have somebody I know and love up on that stage new for the first time every year.
How can somebody find, like, I'll put your link in there, but like, I think this year we need to start working on some type of digital support.
So that's what I was, I kind of touched on that earlier. That retreat really inspired me to do more for my community because I lead these survivors at the run, but it's just one time. I talk to them that a lot of them aren't even from here. So we talked that one day and I'm running around like a crazy person that day. I don't have time to get to know these people like I want to and really get to know them and their story. So this isn't digital, but I wanted to start like a local group and I wanted them to not be strangers the day of the run. So the Wednesday before I hosted a dinner just for survivors and it was a few months after the retreat. So I really just kind of tried to base it off of that, not get very deep in the beginning. Cause originally I wanted to like get there and like, share our feelings. Cause that's what I started liking to do. But I talked to Whitney, I got advice from her and she was like, I wouldn't do that in the beginning. I would just, have a fun night with them to let them know that they're not alone and just play games or something. And, shout out to William, manager of Flamingo Landing. He catered the event. And then I had friends volunteer their time. I had decorations that I had from the year before. Didn't have to spend any money on this and was able to just like spoil and Paul had the alcohol and the drinks and spoil and just remind them of their worth for one night. And then we get to the run. This was like my vision. We get to the run and they're all hugging and saying, hey, calling each other by name. They already knew each other.
So they warmed up.
Yes.
You got them warmed up.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And before that,
respect you on that one.
Before the dinner, they were not warmed up. You know, I told them if they absolutely wanted to and had to, they could bring a +1. But I really didn't want them to because I wanted to get them out of their comfort zone a little bit.
How did they, so from then when they showed up, you seen a big difference?
Like from the beginning to the end?
Yeah, so like when they got to the run though, was massive?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So
go ahead.
I've been, like with my mom and stuff, been through a lot since the run. But like I told you last week, I'm ready to start this group up and make it big. And I've already, I've got donations for it already. I have a bank account for this, Mississippi Gulf Coast Survivor group that I'm trying to start. So, I want to do more events with them and just I've started a Facebook page. There's nobody on it yet, but there's a private group on Facebook. Anyone you know on the Gulf Coast that gets diagnosed will join it. And they automatically have that support right there. They can come in, introduce themselves, and it's just a safe space. It's advice for chemo, advice for a mastectomy.
You need to have a tent there at the run. You need to have like a separate tent.
This is a survivor tent.
No, but like, yeah, I know, but we need to get some brochures going. We need to get some stuff like out there.
Yeah, that's what I was. So
yeah. I can help design
I've
that.
been very busy, but now I'm ready to start it. So, I mean, the page is already done. I've just got to add people to it and introduce me and my mom, which is another thing that's taken a little while.
Are you an admin of Cars Champions on the page? So you're not, okay. Did I added you on that? Okay. Yeah, just whatever I can do to help you make brochures or whatever. I just think that's cool. I think that's cool as shit.
And I don't, as far as I know, the coast does not have that. And every time, you know, people I barely know from the run, every time somebody on our board recently called me and was like, hey, they found something in my breast. I was the first person that she called. I think she's okay. She is okay. But like that meant so much to me that I'm the person that she went to. And then people that I don't even know will message me and be like, hey, I know you're local. I know you don't know who I am, but I know this person who was just diagnosed. She might be around your age. Can you please reach out to her? And I'm able to do that. So it's just really encouraging that.
I'm proud of you.
You know, that people come to me for that.
I am so proud of you right now.
Thank you. And that has a lot to do with, you asked what helps my confidence. That right there. I'm open about it because I saw the impact that made. I had people when I was going through treatment, you know, I was very public about it on social media. I have messages from girls in other countries who had either been diagnosed or their mom was, and they just needed advice. And that's when I really was like, okay, I need to be as open and honest about this as possible because people need that out there. I couldn't find any blogs or anything with people my age that had battled what I did. And there was plenty of resources out there, but it's very important when it's someone who's your age who you can relate to. But no, the support group I want to start is Gulf Coast locals. It doesn't matter age. None of that matters. It's women supporting women. And
I'm down to help you on that one.
Do not want them to do it alone.
I'm down to help you on that.
Thank you.
I mean, I'll make whatever you want. I just think it's important that you do that because I was curious about that. Like, when you come on the show, like warming you up, you always got to warm somebody up. Like you always get, like, when you do this stuff, you have to. Like, you can't just say, show up.
I told you I'm good.
Yeah, but when people show up, like, it sucks. Like, I'm not naming any names of other organizations, but I've been to events and I'm like, this shit's uncomfortable. And we're talking about like, well, what do you say that? Like, I can't feel my right foot. Mm-hmm. So like, I do have I have a certain thing that I've always overcome and battled with. It just like when you have an event, you have an event for the people to feel comfortable and like, so they're like, it's like opening up. Like you said, they're terrified right now. And it's cool you speak on that. I never want them to feel that. Like I love when they come to one of our events and it's honestly, there's like 14 or 15 of us. I love when they come to our event and like, they feel good. Like I don't give a shit about how much money this person has or how they come up and talk to me. I care about, I look over and there's a survivor with their husband and kids.
That's what it's all about. And I've talked about the retreat a lot, but on the retreat, Whitney has close friends, not survivors. They just support her that come to each event, and their job is like to cater to us, you know, cooking behind the scenes and stuff. And that's what my friends were at my dinner for, Abby and Ashton. They've gotten very passionate about it, and they just knew beforehand, you know, don't like automatically like start asking these people their life story, but just be welcoming and talk to them and be nice to them, ask them if they need anything. And it helps so much for these women to open up. So just people knowing that they are loved and supported and included. And that's what it's about, because some of the people I went on the retreat with, we all said like, we would never be friends if it wasn't for this. Like, you know,
that's so fucking cool. That is
it
cool.
is. We have nothing in common, and it's cool. It really is. So I want to get that started. And like, I'm in a big general Facebook group of survivors, but it's people everywhere. And it's great to post in there and like get advice, but it's so much cooler to meet these people in person and have these monthly, you know, dinners or whatever. So I just really want it to be local, and I'm excited about that, to have this group.
And I love the fact that, you know, I'm putting a lot of pressure on you, but you know, with us and Carter's Champions, like I love that you're being a part of it, because I know I see you taking the reins and having and pushing this thing to a different level. And you know, there's a point where I am gonna be going after the sponsors. It's really big for us, and you know, you've had it, but also we are gonna be moving into lavender color. We're gonna have our pink, but we're gonna be moving to lavender too.
I hate pink. So I hate pink.
But no, so lavender's all cancers,
and I love that.
Yeah, so we are going to be coming out with lavender, because it's time for us to help. I mean, it's time for us to help not only breast cancer survivors, but help kids and help.
I completely agree, and I've helped a lot of people with that too, because I don't have, you know, it's not the same for everyone, but it is. I have a general list of chemo must-haves and then mastectomy must-haves. And I've sent that chemo list to a lot of people, not just with breast cancer. And the group is going to be called, you know, Mississippi Gulf Coast Breast Cancer Survivors, because it will be a lot of like mastectomy related stuff. But any cancer survivors battling the same thing.
Did you watch when I did XXV and I talked about, did you see the interview I did with that? I think in my heart, I was just...
Wait, yeah, I did. I shared that.
My mom had non-Hodgkin's. I never talk about it. And I was like, anybody has, and me and John, anybody that has cancer, like, we'll be here for you. Because, you know, my biggest fear is, and I tell her all the time, like, my mom feeling alone when she's not alone. You know, my stepdad, Scott Levenway, shout out to that badass, my business partner too. But, like, he is such a force. He's like Paul to your mom. Like, like Paul Batusi's like, I always tell people, but no, with Rockstar, like Scott too, same way. Like, but they really do care. Like they actually care. Like you meet a person like Paul. Paul's bought me he's bought me an ultra beer. Okay, now somebody, yeah, but I see that same thing with Scott. It's just like you look at like what we're doing and going forward is we got to make it. We got to make it that place, because if we inspire them to have a new friend or, you know, have a person they can relate to, we're winning, because they do have a support system. So
Absolutely.
So what you have is incredible, because I right now there's somebody right now that's at home alone, feeling scared, going through cancer, and doesn't want to tell anybody, and wants to hold it inside and don't tell anybody, and it causes issues.
And that's why I want, like, on the Facebook group, like you can post on there anonymously, and I love that option people have. But also just like, I feel like when I talk about it, I'm pretty, you know, welcoming and inviting, and I would absolutely meet with somebody like in private if they needed to, because some people just do not want to publicly talk about it. There's survivors that come to the run that don't even get on stage, and that's okay. That is not who they are as a person. And I've learned that being, you know, coordinator of the survivor tent, like I can't just, like I said, go up to someone and be like, tell me your whole life story, because not everyone is like that. I've had to learn to read the room, and
but you're making it stronger. You're making it where you get more people to talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tearjerker. I mean, it's hard, but I'm proud of you for that, because like I noticed that last year, like it was a lot more people. You know, hell, the hardest thing was Amy. Amy threw me for a fucking loop.
Amy's the one this past year who I said I was not on that stage last year, and she was like the year before.
Yeah.
But here she was last year, and it was terrible. My mom was the year before that. We have someone who was recently diagnosed who will be on that stage next year, and it sucks. And it's so sad that I am expecting that every year, but it's going to happen.
But it's up to you to push it. We
have saved our friend's life recently. The one that will be on that stage next year. We were at the beach with her this past summer, one of my mom's friends, and, just kind of all making jokes about how she hadn't had a mammogram in years. And we were like, you've got to do that. So we were hard on her, and she did. She had cancer that whole time, breast cancer.
What stage?
1. We saved her life.
She's fucking lucky. 1.
Literally. Saved her life.
I want to be Captain Planet so bad.
I know. And and just me and my mom being there talking about it.
That's cool.
So I hope this encourages everyone to, like, it could be you tomorrow, and you've got to stay on top of it. And know what to look for.
I just know that there's other ways that we can help in the medical world. I feel like it's a lot of more about profit, more money when there's so many different ways to help this. That's kind of scares me too, because like shit. I mean, like I said, like I did that South Mississippi Living Magazine article, and I was like, we're gonna raise $1 million. Kiss my ass. Like I said it. So now I'm like,
it's gotten bigger every year, and it's gonna happen.
But we got to get corporate sponsors on board. We got to become that. We got to brand ourselves. We got to partner with everybody. We got a lot of big things coming to, like I said, like with Crawfish and Beer. John came part of, it's ours anyways, but we're gonna have our limited run pink hat, and that's gonna go to what we do. And just find, if you have an idea, like find a way to sell something like merch. Like I want that to be there, because the more money we raise.
I have been coming up with a logo for this thing. If you want to help me with that,
we got machines here. We can make whatever you want. You can make anything. Carrie, Joe, and Emily can make whatever.
Literally, shout out to Crafty Clover and my last minute ideas, because
they're the best.
They are.
I mean, they are. Do you feel though, like there's some times where you take a breath and you go, I fucking beat it?
Yes. So I know we've talked a little bit about mental health, and you and I, when you asked me to come on the podcast last week, we had a long, deep conversation, and I was not having a good week, and you were not letting me stay down. And I had a very bad mental breakdown one night last week. It was just one day that I just could not stop crying. And it was only one day out of the week, but I just could not stop crying. And as soon as I left the gym, I was bawling, and I drove to the beach, because that's my happy place, and just for an hour just had to let it out, and like full on, like could not breathe, panic attack. And in that moment I was so discouraged, because I felt weak. That happens all the time, like in these breakdowns I just feel weak. And it happened, I told you, when I was going through treatment too. But in that moment I'm like, look what I've been through. I can't let these silly things happening in life get me down when I've literally beat stage 3 cancer. So yeah, there's a lot of times where I feel, what was even the question? Discouraged?
Yeah, like, I mean, yes, that's like having the rough days. Yeah, I was so fucking terrified when, like, honestly, like last week, I was told Emily tonight, I was like, oh, Brittany's coming to tell her story, because that girl, I'm getting the confidence out of her. Like, we're gonna, because like I care about you, I love you, like I absolutely love you, and like I said, like that phone call, like when I call, like I care, and I'm learning how to care more as I get older. It's a journey for me to not, like I said, selfish to selfless, and I'm still learning how to be more selfless. And I do take consideration that, like, what you're going through and how you feel. And it worried me. It freaked me the fuck out.
Well, sorry. Yeah. Jordan really is a real one, though. And that's That's why I love people coming to the run, because they're like, wow, John and Jordan really care. Like, they get the chance.
It's an obsession.
Yes, they get to know you and why are you here and what are you doing, and they want to know your story. But Jordan talked about the scare I had a couple years ago earlier. Jordan has been there for me like more than some of my friends have. Like, you called me after that appointment and I didn't even tell you about it. I didn't tell really anyone about it. And you found out and you immediately called me, and I'll never forget it. And same with last week. I was having a tough week, but you were like, we're getting you out of this. And I will never stay down for too long. That's my advice to anyone battling it, is you've got to let it out. And I've learned that, and it's hard, but
I battled not just personal demons and depression, where when I figured how to get myself out of that shit, which I have, every now and then I do still have them days, but like, I learned to catch somebody that's going through it. Say, hey, wake the fuck up. Wake up.
Yeah, and I tell myself that. I know that's not easy for some people, but I just looking at what I've been through, I'm like, you literally have done the hardest thing you'll ever have to go through. And it really does, being the coordinator of the survivors, that really like pushes me through.
Well, I mean, eventually it's going to be like, you're going to be reading, like, it's not, Carter's Champions is not me and John. It's all of us. And it might come off that way, which I'm fine with. Like, we started it and stuff, but no, it's the team.
No, it takes a village, and it's been awesome to see it.
It's fucking hard. This shit is so tiring.
It's been awesome to see it, and just the friends I've gotten from it, the support I've gotten from it, and
you're strong as shit, the girl. I want you to know that. Like, you are a badass, and you've overcome a lot of things. But I tell you one thing though is you never miss a meeting, and you're always fucking a rock. Like, I love that because that you've been through it. I love that you've, at such a young age, where, like I said, 24 is still young. When everybody's figuring out life, and you're fucking going treatment and figuring out if I'm normal. That's what I was trying to tell you about my mom. Like, you have to, you question yourself, like, am I even normal?
I know I'm absolutely not normal, but I have a new normal, and it made me grow up a lot, and I've had a lot of, I hate to say this, but I feel like I've had a lot of abandonment issues through my treatment. And it started with a parent. It started with my dad when I was diagnosed. We are okay now, but we just spoke for the first time in 2-3 years.
Sorry.
It's okay. I mean, it's made me strong. It started with that. It started with the relationship I was in. And there was just a few other instances where, I just blamed it on that. And I was like, is it because of cancer? And you're always going to blame it on that. And I worked so hard to get where I was at mentally. And then my mom was diagnosed. You asked about dreams. And then I just felt like I just started all over again with it. And there has been some...
Did you ever question if it was your fault?
That my mom was diagnosed?
Yeah, like, did you ever have any kind of like... Because, your mom's always been there while you were, like, going through it. Did you ever, like, probably stress or, did you ever have any of that kind of feeling? Okay, that's good.
No.
That's that's good that you don't feel that way. That's
I saved her life, honestly.
That's fucking awesome.
We did genetic testing. As soon as my grandmother was diagnosed, they tested her. She was negative for the breast cancer gene, so they told my mom and her 3 sisters not to ever worry about it. But of course, when I was diagnosed, they immediately tested me and my mom, and we're both negative. And it was the weirdest thing. I said, where is this coming from? So they told my mom that she was obviously high risk because it ran in our family. But like the next 10 years, she would be good. Like, she needed to consider double mastectomy after the next 10 years and like get me through it and whatever. Well, we weren't waiting 10 years. She wanted to make sure I was done with everything after the run. I guess 2 years ago. After the run 2 years ago, she had her mastectomy scheduled for November. Well, she found her breast cancer in September. So she had her surgery like immediately then and had it before the run and stuff. But we had her mastectomy scheduled for preventative reasons, so she never had to deal with this. And she was doing everything right. We waited too long, and it was only 2-3 years that we waited, and it's scary. But she tells everyone I saved her life because she would have never known that she had it. And now that we're here,
No, it's tough for her. So tomorrow's her surgery?
tomorrow's her second reconstruction surgery.
Shit.
It sucks.
Is it hurt? I mean, is that painful?
It is painful. But those are exciting because that's when you start to feel normal again. You know, they're reconstructing your boobs that she didn't have for over a year. And then she's already had one surgery, reconstruction surgery. And then this is the second. So we're hoping this is the last, but it's hard, but it's something to look forward to. And it's like a surgery to be excited about. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cause it's like my mom's engaged and she was like, I do not want to have a wedding with no hair or no boobs. So they've been putting it off. And that sounds like maybe minor to some people, but that's
major.
It is. And I just know she's been looking forward to it. It's hard to be in a swimsuit, you know, after a mastectomy. I just kind of owned it. I did it, but it's hard as a woman. And another thing that makes survivorship so hard is the hormone blockers they put you on afterwards. That's another reason that survivorship is so hard. I almost like to say it was easier going through treatment than it is after, because during treatment, I feel like first of all, you see your doctor all the time. So that's like your constant, encouragement and support. You have PET scans all the time. So when those are working, like chemo worked for me, my PET scans were clear, and that was very encouraging. And I had something to look forward to, which was finishing treatment and the huge party we had planned at the end of it. And then while you're battling it, you constantly have people checking in on you. Well, when you're done, they expect you to just go back to life like normal.
It doesn't work that way.
No, and I didn't understand it. Everyone told me that, and I was like, heck no, I'm ready to be done and put this behind me. But you never put it behind you. I remember my doctor saying, all right, I'll see you in 6 months. And I freaked out, and you don't have another PET scan for 6 months. So you're constantly worrying about that. And then they put you on these hormone blockers. Not everyone has to do it, but most survivors do, depending on the type of the cancer they had. And there's different types of hormone blockers, but the one I started with, tamoxifen, was terrible. And I started it like as soon as I moved to the coast. So I gained 20 pounds, like at the snap of a finger. I was crying every day. I didn't know why. I was mean. It was awful. All these side effects that I did not expect, because I thought I was on the other side of things. So when I said I worked really hard to be where I was mentally, like when my mom I was doing okay, because I worked hard I switched the medications. I switched from tamoxifen to an injection I'm doing every 3 months, which it works the same way. It's a little easier on me. I switched depression medications. I had to do a lot of, work with my doctor to figure out what works best for me. But I was doing so good up until my mom was diagnosed. And then I felt like I just started over with everything mentally.
Shit.
It's okay. It's good.
No, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
It's just a lot.
Having to relive it when she was diagnosed, which I didn't think it was going to be this hard on me. But when she was diagnosed, it was hard, but I was like, I was ready to fight with her and get her through her surgery and stuff. Her mastectomy was first, but when she started chemo, that's when I really started experiencing things that were so weird. I was having nightmares that were just like in the cancer center, and it was just like chemo all over again. And I was having nightmares about having to start that, and I would get nauseous driving by the cancer center on the interstate in Jackson. So I was like, how am I supposed to go in there and see the chemo again? So I was having these weird nightmares, waking up in a panic. I was waking up in the mornings just throwing up. And it was the weirdest thing. It was like morning sickness, but it was because I was just having these nightmares about it, and I was having awful anxiety. And so it was just really hard. And yeah, my mom's my best friend, but I felt like I did not want to throw this on her when she was battling this. So I kind of did it silently for a while. I lost a job during that time, which was a huge blessing, but it was for something, they just didn't understand what I was battling. And I understand you can't take those problems to work, but I couldn't help it. I left them at the door at work, but I would, for instance, I woke up one morning sick, throwing up. I got in trouble because I didn't wear makeup to work that day. Stupid things.
Dumb. That's dumb shit.
It is dumb shit. Yeah, I know. And I'm keeping my mouth shut, but it is. And it sucked because nobody understood what I was battling. And like I had a friend kind of, I feel like, give up on me during that time because she just did not understand what I was going through. I was not a bad friend. I was not mean to anyone at the time, but I was more to myself because, like I said, I was silently battling it, and it was really hard. But I kind of put that all behind me, and I was my mom's caretaker after that, so it was a huge blessing. But I just kind of battled it and got through it, and was like, I'm ready to fight with her and get her through this, and I did. But that medication that they have you on, I can't help a lot of the things that I'm feeling, you know, because the medication does that to you. And a lot of people don't understand that. So a lot of survivors, that's what they're dealing with, is the medications that they have us on.
Can we share the link to your new group?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you come back on for part 2?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want you guys to dive into this, and I want you to listen to it when you're in your car, because we're stuck inside your radio right now. But I'm proud of you, Brittany. And
thank you.
Guys, if you have any information, I'll put Brittany's information in the link too. But get checked out, get your mammogram. Look out for Carter's Champions. We're about to take over the damn coast.
Does not matter your age, race, gender. None of that matters. It's possible.
We love you, and sorry, like shit. It's a tough one.
I know, but I'm okay.
Yeah, I know.
You know, it's made me a lot stronger and mature, and people like you reminded me that I'm strong and reminded me of my worth. I'm a fighter.
That's awesome. Now send us off. Then come back, send them off. I want you to pay attention to this. I want you to pay attention to this episode though, and her story, because this shit's crazy. Like, this ain't. There's so many times where you see what you've struggled with, and it's cool to watch you overcome that, and you talk about it, and you're open about it, and get checked out. But pay attention to this episode. I love you guys.
I love y'all too.
And what is the name of your group you're starting?
I gotta go find it.
What's it called?
I gotta go find it. I think it's, let me see. I don't know how to find it. South Mississippi Breast Cancer Survivors and Thrivers.
There you go. Love you guys. We're about to take over the coast. We're gonna fight this.
Can't wait.